bring out.
Oh, definitely. Go big or go home. It definitely seems to be the mentality behind Eternity right now. Obviously, Poppy is not going to be the legit pick here, and we're going to find out what that's going to be a placeholder for, because neither of the teams actually messaged us and told us. So, it's going to be interesting here. Judging by their picks, I think it's going to be their top laner that we didn't see.
Yeah, very possible. So, Renekton was in the top lane, Ahri was in the middle lane, and Ahri, again, in this current meta, like, she works. She's basically an assassin. It's something that they should be fine with. Like, Tyrannus is very competent on champions like Ahri. But it seems like they're just going back to Season 3. And I'm not sure if that works, because we've seen so many people in the Challenger scene, specifically in like the Cope ChallengerSeries, who have been innovators. They've come up with new champions, new compositions, and really kind of like spiced things up. But by throwing out like picks from Season 3, like the Ahri, like the Renekton, they just haven't caught up. And I feel like Eternity are a couple weeks behind all the other teams.
Yeah, and it's just going to pour salt in the wounds, because Kubon, the Poppy, was a placeholder pick for Olaf. So it's going to be a rematch at the top lane. Last time around, Kubon definitely had the upper hand. I do wonder, though, if with this potential matchup at top lane, Eternity may be going to rotate around, try a 2v1 lane? I'm not too sure. But in a 1 versus 1 against Kubon, he's probably going to come out second best again, because Kubon was just, as a character, Olaf does do pretty well against Renekton anyway.
Yeah, well, we are on the live client right now, so it's possible to go for a lane swap up, but also possible that they just won't, because the extra armor that the towers have early game makes it just like no real point in going for that swap up, because it's 20 extra reduction, 20 damage reduction, basically how like a Doran's shield works, but for towers for the first couple of minutes. So yeah, most likely we won't be seeing a lane swap up, but that doesn't happen on the bottom lane, interestingly enough, so they might see a lane swap up in that sense.
Well, that's what happens when you don't cast for a month. You get caught out from stuff like that. But so that would indicate it probably is going to be a 1 versus 1. Now, last time around, obviously, Marth did get counter-ganked a lot, counter-jungled an awful lot as well. This time around, maybe with the Kazakhs, he's going to try and be more slippery and offer more aid to Mykiar at top lane. But with all that being said, ladies and gents, we do have 2.5 minutes remaining on the delay, so we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. When we rejoin us, will be live for game number 2 between MeetYourMakers and Eternity.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Meet Your Makers and Eternity Gaming for the second game of this best-of-3 semi-finals in EUW ChallengerSeries number 17. Meet Your Makers quite convincingly took the first game against Eternity and came up with a very, very strong start. I am Pulse. I am joined by Metas.
Hello, love. How you doing?
Hello.
How's your leg? Going? He gashed his leg, by the way, guys. So he's soldiering on into this game. That being said, though, Meet Your Makers, they're finding themselves in a trap. Livic's taking the forefront of the damage. Forced to flash away instantly with an ignite ticking down on him. Now Makat is taking all the damage. Can they manage to pick up a kill? So slippery right now, but they are burning off these summoners. So still well and truly an advantage. Flash in from Mikey R with the Ruthless Predator. Another flash coming in from Moa, forcing out the barrier. And a pause has been called. Are you kidding me?
You know what hurts more than my leg? This. So a pause comes out. Just as Makler is at the point of dying. Moaf, everyone's probably mashing their keyboard trying to get as close to Makler as they possibly could. And we're going to see what's going to happen. This is a bit awkward. Quite awkward.
Wow. I mean, I'm reading the chat, which you guys can't see because it's turned off. And it's a lot of people scratching their heads saying, this is an untimely pause. Sorry he didn't say anything. We shouldn't pause at such a time. So, okay. Makler has literally no hit points remaining. Barrier is about to come off. And Ignite's ticking down. So I'm pretty sure Makler is going to die. Should be first blood. It's just a question of who picks it up.
Yes. People are also questioning whether he has a macro key for pausing. Because you do actually have to type /pause. Which does take many keystrokes. So... yeah, we are currently waiting for ourselves to get back into the game.
This is pretty interesting, if I may use that word.
It is, because yeah.
I've honestly never seen a pause like this before. Not at such a bad time.
Someone in chat saying cheaters. I would not say they are cheaters because this doesn't really help anyone. Because as soon as we go into the countdown, everyone's going to be rolling their keyboards trying to keep each other alive. So. Makler, also importantly enough, is getting regen from his health pot, and he actually hit that just before the pause came in. So he's going to have a little bit of regen, but he's on 26 hit points. So one auto attack, even from the support at this stage, will result in a kill. Also, a flash just came down from, it looks like Nikos. Yeah, it's or Stratagas. From someone.
I think it's Stratagas?
I think it's Tarados. No, it's Tarados.
I have no idea what's going on, honestly, Pulse. My brain is fried. All I know
5
is that
seconds,
Makler should
mash
die.
the keyboard!
Oh. Who can face roll the keyboard hardest? Makler? Makler can! No, the flash comes in from Stratagas, first blood. Now can they pick up the kill on Libic? No.
No. They could try and damage juggle the tower and go for this level 1 tower dive, but that only really works if there's one person on the turret. They're going to be quite happy with that first blood, and a lot of summoners burn all around, so flash down, okay, so that's all the flashes from Eternity. I'm not sure how worth that was. It was hilarious, but I'm not sure how worth burning all your flashes is for getting one kill. But either way, they're going to be ahead in the early game.
Burning all the flashes, 2 ignites as well, whereas on the flip side, that's just 3 flashes from Meet Your Makers. But they do get the first blood, and it is on Lucian, so all things considered, pretty nice from Eternity. That being said, though, when you're against Lee Sin, the one thing you need is maneuverability, mobility. So with all those flashes being down, Makata's probably licking his lips, but it doesn't look like he's going to get any help. So he's bully no mates in the blue buff.
Yeah, that's a bit sad. Makata is going to take a few hits from blue buff. It's not going to be too bad. He's already used a smite, but he's going to have to burn through at least 2 health potions. He misses the Q, hits a lizard. No one really saw that. I'm hoping the camera wasn't there. Actually, it wasn't, just looking at stream. So, either way, we're just going to go back to the laning phase.
Well, no love for Makata. Everyone's like, you're on your own, dude. We just lost first blood, so deal with it. But he is going to be moving to his red buff slightly behind Kha'Zix, who also picked up that assist. So actually went back and brought up a mana potion, which is fairly interesting.
Yeah, it actually helps him towards the early game because something that is typical of a lot of like burst mages and even Kha'Zix to some extent is they have some problem with mana management, and especially when you want to bring out like a full combo, like a full rotation of your abilities, sometimes you don't quite have enough, and it also puts your lane opponent off because it's like, okay, well, this person does not quite have enough mana right now to use his full combination. But by having a mana potion, you do. And that will actually just help him not clear the jungle, but when he goes up for this first gank, if he doesn't have enough mana potion comes out, and he will, and another pause comes out. Fantastic.
Much pause, such wow. I don't even know what's happening.
Such pause.
They pause, then ask if you're ready. What kind of a pause is that? Like 1 second? Is it to itch your nose or something?
Probably the pause macro. Okay, we're gonna go back onto the game, back onto the Rift, and not very much has happened.
Yes, since the 2 seconds prior. But Kha'Zix is heading up the top lane, so maybe we are going to have some action. Kubon's spidey senses are tingling, and he's actually going to be recalling in that top bush. Meanwhile, at bot lane, Makler has 8 Ignite for his troubles, so he's going to be backing away on top of it. Zap comes out, lands onto Stratogas, and they do just go a bit more blow for blow at bot. But actually, Makler is going to be recalling.
Yeah, so there's not been too much of a differential between any of these lanes really at the moment. And Eternity are in the same spot they were in the first game in terms of their composition, but not in terms of goals and how the pace of the game is flowing. Because right now they've got the early kill, which they didn't have the first time. And honestly, I felt if the game had kind of been on the flip side and they had picked up that early kill onto the jungler, then they would have won the game. And something very similar has happened this time. So Eternity are in very good shape. However, in terms of team composition, they have very little CC, and Lee Sin is not coming in.
And Livik has egg all over his face and takes a load of damage.
That was not a good lantern. That was, in fact, a lantern that was in the wrong place, and Lee Sin was like, I can't actually reach that, so I'm going to have to walk around the side. So this has been fairly disastrous in terms of, like, the small placement things from MeetYourMakers. It's just like the Lee Sin Q being out of place, Livik's Dark Passage just being slightly too far away from Lee Sin so he couldn't dash to it. It's just small things like these that are really mounting up.
It's like a comedy of errors, but honestly, these are the games that I enjoy the most, Pulse.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel a bit better about my gameplay. These guys are human after all. They're not robots designed to play League of Legends. But still, you know, these mistakes are not causing catastrophic events to occur. Although that being said, had the Lantern have been slightly better, they could have jumped on top of Stratogas and potentially got a kill. Top lane, though, looks like Lee Sin is trying to move into position.
He's going to loop around the side, try and sneak into this bush, and Kubon's trying his best to clear out that minion, which might be a tell to MikeYR that they're looking for this gank to happen. But Kubon isn't like the best person to gank for because Olaf just doesn't really do too much, and he will be jumping in and trying to pick up this kill, but I'm not sure how deep they will go. Nope, they're not going to die that tower up. Like, Kubon does not have any hard CC here, Metas, and that makes it so difficult to gank for unless MikeYR's already used to slice and dice and Kubon lands the most money undertow of the century.
Oh, actually, Flame Chompers comes down. Stratogas is taking so much damage. There's the exhaust as well. Barry has been utilised in amongst it all. Dark Passage used for Makler, and now Jinx has got excited. And Nico's not looking in a great position. Does get the stun down on Makler, but there's the death sentence. Will it live up to its name? Flash across from Nico. Could manage to survive here. Flay back again. Will Livik go down? No, he will not. And the rocket launcher enough to secure the kill.
I'm a little surprised that Makler decided to stay in Mr. Fishboat. Like, he was able to basically switch to Pow Pow and bring out a ton of damage, but he was kiting away, which made sense, and in the top lane they're going blow for blow.
Very reminiscent of the first game. Ignite comes down, and the flash was too little too late, so 1 for 1. With, I think, all the summoners being burnt there. Ignite and Flash from Renekton, and just the Ignite from Kubon. So actually, he comes out slightly ahead in that trade.
Yeah, indeed. But back onto the bottom lane. Makler could have just switched straight into his minigun, and that would have resulted in more damage, but he was kiting away from Nikos' like extra burst. But at the stage he was only level 3 and he didn't have Tibbers because he's level 3, so I'm not sure how scared he had to be of that. In fact, Nikos actually hung on to his Ignite, so that's probably what he was looking out for. But either way, yeah, again, Kubon coming slightly ahead in the top lane, and there's really been not too much jungler intervention, and they're just getting ahead in their lanes, which is something you don't typically should see. Like, you should generally have jungle intervention, yes, that should be when kills are happening, but you shouldn't necessarily be dying to your lane opponents by themselves.
Yeah, it's something you don't see a great deal of in the EUW ChallengerSeries or all tournaments that we had. Generally, as you say, it's a jungle intervention that comes in and secures kills, but it just goes to show how aggressive both these top laners are. Every time I look at top, they're trading. they're just in each other's faces, smacking one another with their weapons. So it's a fairly scary situation. Makata comes in there as I'm talking, and I believe he actually stole that red buff away. So the terror continues for Moaf. His jungles all belong to Makata, both of these games.
Yeah, and it's pretty funny actually, because Kha'Zix is one of the champions who can trade very effectively against Lee Sin in one-on-one, because they are very strong duelists. But that's going to be stolen away, and Chuyu is just kind of hanging around in the middle lane as Moaf is trying to steal away this red buff from his opponent. Might be able to get it, but that will be a dragon in return.
Yep, so it looks like they're bouncing back here as the red pinging comes up at top lane. Mikey are taking quite a bit of damage, but as you say, Dragon is going to be picked up here from MeetYourMakers. So not just the red steal, but also the Dragon to boot. So again, MeetYourMakers, they're really shining through with their experience, and they're like a well-oiled machine. They're always moving around together, trying to pick up that next objective.
Yeah, and you mentioned they might be robotic League of Legends playing machines, and that's definitely what MYM are looking like at the moment. They are so incredibly fluid between the transitions, and just their decision making in general was really strong, as well as their mechanical skill. Kuban under attack in the top lane.
He's taking a lot of damage, but he is playing Olaf, and Olaf is very tanky. Should be getting that kill back. The tower does enough damage, but again, the assist goal will be going into the hands of Moaf. Lee Sin comes to top lane, but not in time. So again, both top laners just going blow for blow. Mid lane, now actually Corey's doing a lot of damage to Ari before that charm landed.
However, Chuyu only has to do moderately well. He doesn't have to win his lane outright, he just needs to survive his laning phase and maybe get a kill here and there. Because when it hits the team fight, it's going to be even harder to shut him down, because first game, you could save the Gragas barrel to disrupt Katarina, but it was generally Renekton who was fulfilling that job. But if Renekton falls behind, and that's not going to happen, and this time they do not have Gragas barrel, they have a very conditional and situational CC in the form of Charm, which is going to be very, very hard to land on Katarina. So this time around, it might be even harder to shut down Katarina.
Yeah, definitely could be the case, and Ori is trying to pick up the blue buff, so Tyrannus with that blue is going to be able to put a bit more pressure and try to apply it against Corey Choyu. I'm probably going to call him Chuyu because that's his name in game, just to save any confusion as the death sentence lands at bot lane from Libic. Didn't want to be tower diving with that health though.
Yeah, so they also have Kha'Zix and Moaf's going to be on that champion 0, 0, and 2. In the jungle, he doesn't kind of naturally hit that state where he's able to become a reset champion because he needs as those kills, as we mentioned previously, and just more gold. And you do not get the same amount of gold as you would typically from a lane, but at least they have a reset champion in response. And that's kind of the vital thing here, because last time, if they were starting to win a team fight and they weren't able to do that, towers dropping very low in the bottom lane. Also, Katarina is around the area. Moaf gonna go toe-to-toe here.
Yeah, looking to screw the nails in here, but actually backfires as Death Lotus comes out. Here comes Tyrannus from the side. Does have ultimate, does have ignite as well. Question is, can Chuyu survive this? Looks likely. Here comes Tyrannus from the side. The Spirit Rush is coming in. Actually misses his charm, and with Makata being there as well, is forced to back away. So Chuyu should be fine.
Moaf saying, please don't check the dragon pit, because I just face planted the wall. And Makata walks past, but Moaf is in position and he's not going to be seen. Oh, no, Makata's not going to check. Okay. I was slightly scared for a second, but they're going to be okay. And he will be backing off, just recalling back to base. So 3 and 4 will be the scoreline, and not too much in terms of item builds. That is very notable. Kha'Zix has picked up the Spirit of the Elder Lizard, which is fairly typical of a Kha'Zix in the jungle. You don't typically pick up like 3 longswords like you would in lane and then build that into a variety of things like a Bristleizer. It's the most ambiguous item in the game, honestly. But Spirits of the Lizard Elder will just allow him extra damage and extra jungle clearing potential.
And interestingly enough, at top lane as well. I mean, this is take 2. First game that MeetYourMakers ended up winning, it was Olaf versus Renekton the exact same way round. This time, actually, MikeYour's having a much better time of it, is ahead on CS. And previously, as you're making your point there, Boss, actually got Kuban pretty low. He's forced to back away from his tower before getting some regen back up again. So, MikeYour's having a much better game of this second time around.
Yeah, he is, and the junglers are a lot more even, which is one of the factors. But it's just, it's largely a skill matchup up until like kind of post level 6. But like Olaf will eventually win that lane, and bottom tower will now be falling. It's taken a little while, but Maka might be able to follow up into Strategas, and indeed Makata is here.
Well, especially with Nakata coming around from the back and also Katarina moving down. Here comes the damage, and Katarina comes in. Scumbags out of the way with the bouncing blades to get the last hit. But, you know, honestly, MeetYourMakers is going to be very happy with Katarina picking up that kill. Will actually be the first of the game here for Chuyu. He did such a good job first time around. Moath is now pretty precarious position. Going to be losing yet another buff to Makate. Question is, are they going to back away or try and make some plays? Looks like the former of those options.
Indeed, and MeetYourMakers do not need to be aggressive. They're gradually getting ahead and they don't need to do anything risky. However, from the team of Eternity, they kind of do. They need to get specific champions rolling. Ari needs a couple kills to really start deleting people. Moath needs some kills to just get those resets and really become a threat, because at the moment, he's just an annoyance. Like, he does a bit of damage, he can kill squishy target if he gets in the right situation, but he's very squishy and can be taken down by just a general AoE that MeetYourMakers has available to them. And Libic will be just sitting by Makler and making it very difficult for Kha'Zix to get anywhere near him. He might get his initial burst off, but Makler will be largely safe away from that.
Yeah, and even though it was fairly close before at top lane, Kubon went back and I believe picked up a giant belt, and suddenly the tides have turned for Mikey R, because those reckless swings are going to be coming out thick and fast. Kubon is not going to be feeling the pinch as much as he was before, and you can already see that Mikey R is playing a lot more passive, realizing he can't trade. Chuyu in mid lane is flashing up red. Moath thought about going in for the potential kill, but Makate again in the right place at the right time. Charm narrowly missing. Here comes the Hyper Mega Death Rocket, courtesy of Jinx, but not able to actually pick that one up. Did I say Hyper? Yeah, nice. Super. I'm getting confused with Urgot, Hyperkinetic Position Reverser.
I mean, they all have very similar abilities. I
guess it is Hyper, judging, you know, Jinx's personality. And speaking of which, Mac was actually pretty... I thought he was going to get dove. That's not the case.
That's a hyper-aggressive move from the Eternity bot lane. And Makler will be pretty okay with this one. It's not going to cause too many issues, too many ripples in that lane. And Libic is just trying to get back in, but Annie's making it a little bit more difficult for that to happen.
Yes, indeed. So, again, it looks like Makler and Libic are trying to play aggressive as they did in the first game. Not quite as nice a start here for Makler, who got first blood last time around. Dragon is available, and you can see that Makate is just flirting with this one right now. This is allowing Makler and Libic over to just push the bot lane, get some more farm, and with Katarina coming down, they could very well get their second consecutive Dragon. I don't think there's a great deal that Eternity can do about this.
Yeah, they're just going to shrink this down, though Eternity are not even going to try and contest. At this stage, when they're just slightly behind, okay, the Dragon will put them further behind, but what would put them even further behind than that would be a lost team fight, and getting ace at this stage would not be what they want. MeetYourMakers are now going to start rotating. They do not need a Karma for that. They don't really have that much mobility on their side this time around, but they have great team fighting potential, great skirmishing potential, and as long as they're in an area before their opponent, they kind of win, because they just need to kind of build themselves like a foxhole and sit there and just wait for them to come to them. Because MeetYourMakers, if they get to a tower before their opponents, Makler will destroy it with Pow Pow. If they get to a dragon before Eternity, then they're just going to out team fight them.
It's that kind of position, again, what we've seen so many times in the US Challenger Series, Paul, so we've casted, where one team's just trying to starve out the other one. They're setting up camp in the opposition jungle, they're constantly pressuring, and Eternity are just on the back foot all the time. They can't afford to really push past their towers, otherwise they risk death, otherwise they risk snowballing the opposition team. So you can see that Mikey R is just, he has to stand back on his tower, and in doing so, this is inviting the gank to come up. Moath has been caught. Resonating Strike is going to be coming through. Makate will be falling, though. And this is the damage. This is the danger of having Kha'Zix and Ari against you. They're such big bursting champions. But now Kubon is absorbing all this damage, taking point, jumping in first. Here comes a death sentence as well from Libic plus the box. But it looks like they should be okay to pull this one back. Meanwhile, Makler actually dies at bot lane.
Yep, his support went up into the top lane to try and assist and make sure that trade worked out. As a result, Makata just died, and Makler also died in the bottom lane, so that was worst case scenario for MeetYourMakers. That was absolutely perfect. The kind of difference between Tarados and also Moath's champions is that they do not need to think too much about when they use their combination, whereas Chuyu needs to jump in at the right time because he's stationary for 3 seconds while using Death Lotus, which is a huge difference. Bottom tower will fall. This is quickly cascading in Eternity's favour.
Yeah, question is, can they keep their foot on the ground? Can they keep pressing forward right now? Because MeetYourMakers are a team that once they're in the rhythm, once they're in the flow, they're very difficult to dethrone. Eternity had no chance in the first game to get any kind of momentum rolling. Yes, they had a couple of moments in the early game where Nocturne started to bring it back, but then it was very quickly shut down from MeetYourMakers, who excelled towards the finish line. So Eternity, they're going to need to learn from that first game here, Paulson. Maybe play a bit more aggressively, maybe try and make some plays. They have the characters to do it here. If Kha'Zix and Ahri jump in, they can pop somebody instantly.
Yeah, so far they've really just been playing reactively, and Levick has found himself Moa.
Yeah, I think Morph will be fine, though, especially considering he has Stratagas and also Nico there. So yeah, he's going to be able to pick up this red buff, hopefully from his perspective.
Well, Makata's going to try and battle it out with the smites, but there's going to be more picking it up, and Makata's going to walk away in shame. Not quite in range for that smite, but again, it's just keeping up the pressure so that Eternity can't pressure MeetYourMakers. And I think that's kind of the main point. That's the second evolution coming in, and that will be onto the leap right now. So Moaf will be able to get those resets down.
Top lane again, a lot of damage being expended between the two. I think Kubon's coming out slightly ahead here, but there is the Dominus popped up, plus the Ragnarok as well. So now Kubon is being chased back towards his own tower. And Mikey actually jumps in with a slice and dice, takes a needless tower shot, but Kubon is too low to really charge that one down. You can see instantly MeetYourMakers are looking to just again try and occupy the opposition jungle. It could end up getting caught out here. Stratagas is taking the lead. Here comes Marth as well. Libic will be falling, sacrificing himself for Makata.
Yeah, they're just being too aggressive, and I'm not even sure what they were trying to get from that jungle. Like, there is no objectives right there now that bread has been taken. Dragon doesn't spawn for 2 minutes, and they're just needlessly dying, which is just feeding kills to the reset champions and assassins from Eternity. The biggest threats on the board right now, and will continue to be the biggest threats in the middle game, will be Ahri, and it'll also be Ahri when she kills Chuyu.
Oh, Chuyu again, though, the outplay, jumping back in again. Does he have the damage? Kha'Zix comes round and actually doesn't even get an assist. That was all on Tyrannus. I think they were trying to get some ward control in the opposition jungle there, Pulse, but a head scratcher. Why would you do that? Super Mega Death Rocket comes in, but yeah, long gone is Ahri.
Yeah, and recalled in a slightly obscure place, but rightly so. And, well, this time Nikos has been caught.
What is going on? It's just players getting caught left, right, and centre. Kha'Zix come around from the side, though. They're trying to make some plays as the flash comes in from Nico. It looks like they're by and large going to sign that ceasefire. In fact, Lee Sin going back in, but Makata not able to land the Q. And now we'll go back, finally.
It's very strange because these highly mechanically skilled players who have superb decision making as a team are just continuously getting caught out. Yes, the kind of compositions do lend itself towards that because you have these small gank squads moving about the map and the bigger gank squad wins. And you can really pick people out with Lee Sin and Livic on Fresh, and also Moaf and Ahri who can instantly delete people like we saw Makata in the blue buff area before, just a couple minutes former to this, or prior to this. So, yes, it kind of, because of the compositions that have been set up, this does happen, but it's happening more than it should.
They were kind of, you know, anonymous and known in LCS MYM for throwing games that they were quite in charge of. So, you know, some old habits die hard is the phrase that comes to mind. Because they have been caught a number of times, as you say, where it didn't make a great deal of sense. They do have this dragon timer though, and they're going to try and pick up their third dragon of the game. But this time, you can see that Eternity are in the position to try and mount some kind of resistance. 4 players versus 4 once Stratagas gets down, but it could be too little too late. Kha'Zix comes in. Once again though, Makata's smiting is on point. Top lane Kubon could be dying. In fact, he manages to survive and kills off for Renekton with a slither of health remaining.
I think that's 3-0 right now to Makata in terms of smites, and he's been 2 levels behind Kha'Zix as well, so it just shows Makata is currently superior in those smites. Muaf's going to take every opportunity he can to try and show otherwise, but so far, Makata is king of the smites.
He is, and you know, a lot of people, I'm checking chat, are kind of flaming Makata, but there's one thing you cannot deny, his smiting is amazing. He always seems to outsmite. Tyrannus is going in hard onto Chuyu, who does get Dark Passaged away courtesy of Libic, and they should be okay here.
Yeah, Makata is an incredible player, as kind of shown already during this game and the last, but middle tower falling to Eternity, that would be a bit of extra gold on Libic. Nope, you cannot get caught here. This is not a good place to be. Turridus is coming around from the side, could be Jinx in the sights, or it could indeed be Libic. But it looks like both of these guys are going to just get out perfectly okay.
Yep, so let's take stock here, Pulse, of the items being built up around the board. Triforce first on Lucian, which is fairly standard, I would have to say. A lot of people do also go for Bloodthirster. In fact, Kha'Zix is jumping in and forces the cancellation of that recall. So I'm really just being a pain in the backside and nothing else. But nothing's really jumping out at me in terms of these item builds. It's pretty much identical right now for both teams. Although, having said that, Chuyu, last time around, if you remember, he went for Deathfire Grasp first. This time, Abyssal Scepter. So he's managing to change it up a tiny bit.
Yeah, Abyssal Scepter because they're not snowballing ahead as hard as they were the first game. Because he was like, okay, pick up Deathfire Grasp, instantly kill someone, sweep up the team fight. And that happened time and time again. That was the perfect pickup. This time around, it's not so much. They do not have too much like AP damage on their team, but it will just generally help out. And again, Makata is trying to steal away the red buff, but Eternity, no, it's happened one too many times for Makata to easily just sweep in and take that away. But we might have another battle with the smites. And Libic is hanging around with the rest of the team, but not too much going to happen. And apart from the item build, everything is very similar. Makata did not manage to take that one away. Yeah,
Kha'Zix jumping over the wall and does manage to force Makata away. So very different tempo, very different vibe in this game to game number 1, which is pretty much all systems go for MeetYourMakers, harassing all 3 lanes, really stamping their authority across the board. This time you can see it in their play, that they are much more respectful of Eternity's prowess and presence in this game. They don't want to throw away any needless kills anymore. They're realizing, hold on a second guys, Eternity, they can actually ace us. They can actually push a good 2 or 3 towers down, so let's play a bit more safe.
In the first game as well, they didn't have huge threats on the board. They could be like, okay, well, we'll let them take a couple kills, but they're not going to become scary from those couple kills. However, Ahri, you give her like 2 kills, which she has right now, she will destroy even your front line. You give kills to Kha'Zix, he becomes a reset champion, just as scary as Katarina. Last time around, okay, Gragas gets a bit fed. Well, he'll do a lot of damage, but he does that anyway. But this time, they've got more to be scared of, and therefore they can't be as aggressive. So right now we've kind of hit the stagnant stage in the game where neither team can be aggressive because both of these teams are very good on the defensive, which is something we saw a lot during the preseason, not so much during kind of the start of Season 4, which we're in now, but we've kind of hit that stage in the game.
It's one of those kind of games, I honestly feel this is going to come down to Dragon. That's the next time we're going to see a big fight kicking off, and I think it's probably going to be the way forward for the next little bit as well, because both these teams, they are in a kind of lock. Chuyu will be forced to use that ward to jump away from with the Shun Po, because Moath is doing quite a bit of damage with that Last Whisper and Spirit of the Elder Lizard plus Brutalizer, so he's doing a lot of shred right now. But I feel that Dragon's the next time that we're going to see the kind of 4 versus 4 clash. I say that because Kubon and Mikey R have pretty much just stayed in top lane the entire game. They've been there both games actually, not been too interested in anything else.
If anyone's going to move, it will be Mikey R, because he offers more to a team fight. Olaf offers more to split pushing and 1v1ing a single person, like Mikey R in the top lane, which is going to keep him there. It depends how hard Olaf is going to push. Undertow is very good for that, so is Sunfire Cape, and it might just keep Mikey R in the top lane. But indeed, it will most likely be a 4 versus 4, and in a 4 versus 4 fight, I would probably favour Eternity, because they just have more threats. They can instantly take someone down with Ahri, Kha'Zix can get a reset off of that and they can start rolling. Katarina, however, there's no real source of ability to get an instant kill. Lee Sin's damage has started to scale off, he's more of a tank now. He's more about getting that single pick. But they don't have a whole lot of damage apart from Katarina, but she does a lot of damage by herself.
Yeah, this is forced the ultimate. Oh, Makla actually missed his then from Jinx, so a bit of a whiff there. Although that being said, was a flash in relentless pursuit from Lucian, so very slippery. But they have managed to force the AD carry back far enough to put a bit of damage down on this tower. With Nico and the rest of his team showing up though, again they're forced to back away. Dragon is up in 30 seconds. Going to be a question now of which of these teams is going to feel more confident to try and pursue the Dragon and pick that one up. Looks by the look of things to be MeetYourMakers. They're starting to occupy this area.
I think if they go for this and try to take it down immediately, might be a mistake. Because I definitely feel that Eternity have the superior 4 versus 4 right now. Olaf is coming down, that's going to turn the tables, definitely. He's kept MeetYourMakers in the top lane because he pushed so hard. Dragon spawning right about now. This is going to be a 5 versus 4 for a long time. And that rotation, a very smart rotation and quick rotation, has secured the dragon. It's as simple as that.
Oh, Morth actually jumps in and eats a flaying death sentence. That was not even close, Pulse. He jumped in a good second or two after Dragon fell and just gives a free kill to MeetYourMakers. A beautiful preemptive play, though, from Kubon to push the top lane, as you say, and then rotate to Dragon, completely catching MeetYourMakers off guard. And actually, Flash going in from Nico. They're going to be looking to engage this, knowing that Chuyu is a bot lane. Question is, do they have enough damage before Katarina can get into contention? Tyrannus is actually falling. They're losing this fight right now. MeetYourMakers will finally get that kill onto Jinx. Now chasing after Libet. Katarina slowly but surely pushing the way up towards the red buff area. So that is a 1-for-1, although delayed. And that was a Flash Tibbers from Nico.
These are some very strange fights and just very strange scenarios. Like, there was no real reason for Moaf to jump in. His life for a Dragon Steel attempt is not worth it. His life for the Dragon is, yes, it's worth it, but it's so risky, it's just not even worth attempting it. MeetYourMakers trying to hunt down Chuyu, and Chuyu jumps back in.
Yes, he does, but Stratnagast there to save his comrade of MeetYourMakers. So again, yes, the dragon was the point of contention, but a bit of a strange engage from Moat to try and steal away the dragon. Ends up in a 1-for-1 globally. Again, though, that's not really definitive to either team, Pulse. Yes, MeetYourMakers pick up another 1,000 gold or so. Still very close in the gold deficit. Still very close in the global objectives as well. And it's anybody's game.
From what we saw from the last teamfight, you can see why Renekton is stronger in teamfights than Olaf, because Olaf kills one person, but MeetYourMakers, the AoE damage makes it very difficult to deal with, plus he's purely been itemizing armor, so that he's been playing against, of course, Kubon in the top lane, who deals primarily AD damage along with true damage, and the only way to deal with that is extra HP, but it means when you get into teamfights, he'll be able to hunt down Makler, which is exactly what happened. However, he's built no magic resist, apart from the Negatron Cloak, which he's literally just picked up, which is why Katarina could shred him down. But now that he's itemizing towards that Spirit Visage, which is 95% what it's going to be a little bit harder for Chuyu to nuke him down now.
A nice opportunistic engage, though, from Nico, knowing that Chuyu was at bot lane, so kind of negating the problem that Renekton has, as you completely rightfully point out, with the lack of MR. But I doubt that Chuyu's going to fall for that again. I think it's one of those kind of snakes where he's like, okay, maybe next time I'm not going to do that. Another way of looking at it, though, is saying MeetYourMakers were a bit too aggressive, and they kind of opened up the anti-flash engage. So maybe going to learn from that mistake. They didn't pay for it as hard as I think Eternity wanted, and now Kubon is chasing after MeetYourMakers. He should be okay, though.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. But when we hit teamfight, I still feel that Eternity is stronger. Even with that slip-up from Moaf, they out-traded the team of MeetYourMakers and have found themselves in their jungle.
They have, oh my goodness, Nico gets absolutely smashed off Chuyu, who has managed to get the resets now, pick up the second kill, courtesy of Olaf onto Renekton. And that is probably going to signify a free Baron, honestly, because yes, you've got Ahri, yes, you've got Kha'Zix, but nobody is tanky enough to deal with this.
Well, that was unexpected. Like all the praises I was singing about Eternity's team fight, I did not realize Chuyu did that much damage even to 1 and 2. He's been farming really well for a Katarina. That'll be Turridas jumping in, not quite signaling the start of a team fight just yet, Metas, but the Baron is falling rapidly. They're going to give it a good attempt.
They are going to try and steal this one away. The question is, are they going to be able to do so? Lee Sin picks that one up, and that's going to be Kha'Zix falling as well. Tyrannus falls on top of that, and now it's all on Stratnagast. Can he manage to survive? And what's the damage going to be as a result? Probably going to lose at least the tower here, unless they go ahead and recall MeetYourMakers and buy up some more items. Looks like they're going to push down mid.
Yeah, talk about walking into the meat grinder there, Metas. Jumped in, instantly died. Became a reset for Katarina. Ahri dies as well. Baron picked up by MeetYourMakers. And I'm not even sure why Moaf tries and like competes with Smite anymore. That's 4 or 5 Smites in a row that have not worked out. Makata jumps very deep in. Not quite the start of a team fight, but the tower will be going down. Kubon, a bit aggressive with Randuin's, but that's probably going to be the end of it.
Yeah, Makata doing a nice job there of playing super aggressive and forcing everyone to focus him, which of course means they can't defend the tower at the same time. So he'll be picking that one up and now systematically just pushing down bot. So this is where MeetYourMakers shine, I feel. When they're ahead, when they have the advantage, they just seem to go for the jugular.
Yeah, and now they're just pushing in bot tower as well. They're at that stage where they do not have to fear Eternity's teamfight, especially with Baron buff and that extra regen. You just hanging around, and you cannot afford to get caught, Nikos, which is what happened in Sigil at the start of the last teamfight. Oh!
What are you doing? He just got completely caught out of position and loses his life very nearly. And also with the flash being down here, Pulse, on Nico, we're not going to have any flash engages. Mikey R is getting smashed as well from the backside. Here comes the culling from the Stratagas, but not really doing anything. Nico is going to be falling. Here comes the cleanup on aisle 3 from Chu. He's picked up 2. Hungry for his third, not able to do so. Will he actually get it now as Mikey looked like he could survive? There's going to be Kubon picking up that kill and actually does get the triple onto Ari, who comes back in to die.
Yeah, Ari would literally just came back into the fight and was like, hey, and instantly got picked up. Stratagas is solo. GG has been called by these guys. Oh, do not get near to you because your health will disintegrate. And that will be 2-0 to MeetYourMakers.
A strange game that looked on the tipping point for a long time, and then suddenly one small mistake and MeetYourMakers pounce on it, and that was the engage at blue buff that just simply backfired. So MeetYourMakers showing again why they're such a scary team to play against, Pulse, because it's almost like they're coiled like a viper, waiting for that moment to strike. That you have that kind of false sense